We've looked at the GameCube and the PlayStation 2 emulation on the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus, and today we're going to look at the Dreamcast, N64 and the PS1. For the Dreamcast emulation, we've been using Redream on the Pocket 2 Plus. Starting off with Crazy Taxi, you can see there's a couple of odd lines on the menu screen actually, but that is where the issues end. As soon as you jump into the game, it is absolutely silky smooth. The frame rate is absolutely spot on, and it's so enjoyable playing this on the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus. Even the audio is absolutely brilliant, and again, with great soundtracks like this, you need great audio. Next up is Sonic Adventure 2, and this one always struggled a bit on the Ambernic consoles when I tried it, whereas on the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus, again, it is just so silky smooth and so enjoyable to play. Having Sonic hurtling through these streets on his snowboard or spinning around, you need to have quick and responsive graphics, and that is exactly what you're getting with the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus. Checking out a racing game because they're always great for showing those issues off is Tokyo Extreme Racer 2, and once again, it is just buttery smooth. Carrying on, Soul Calibur also runs fantastically, from the menu system all the way through to gameplay. Again, games like fighting games, games like racing games really reveal the issues in emulation, but we're seeing none of those issues right now with amazing emulation for the Dreamcast. Moving on to the PS1, and we're using the DuckStation emulator on the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus, and we're starting off with one of my favourite hidden gem racing games, Nascar Rumble. Such a great game, you need to check it out if you haven't. And once again, racing games, like we said, really showcase the issues with emulation, whereas the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus is absolutely killing it. Moving on to another racing game, and a game that does struggle on a lot of other devices, Ridge Racer 4. But there are absolutely no problems here. Again, from the menu system, to the cutscenes, to the gameplay, everything is running brilliantly. To the point where it feels like these games were designed for this console. It feels like these games were made for the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus. Over the past few years, I've learned to just deal with a few issues here and there. A little bit of slowdown there, a couple of graphical issues here. But the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus is such a breath of fresh air for PlayStation 1 emulation. Next up, we're looking at the 3D adventure Rayman 2 The Great Escape. And we just have more of the same gorgeous emulation. There's absolutely no issues, no slowdown, no problems, no graphical issues. And once again, Rayman 2 is a game that I've seen issues with on other devices. Little graphical issues here and there. And then we look at Spider-Man 2. And okay, yeah, it's not the best Spider-Man game on the PlayStation 1, but I didn't have that one available to me. Still though, it plays absolutely wonderfully. Swinging around as Spider-Man, kicking those foes' butts, it's just pure joy. Now we're using M64 Plus for Retroid Pocket 2 emulation for the N64. And starting off, we're going to do Bob Wolf's favourite Yoshi's Story test. And unfortunately, the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus really struggled with this. I was surprised because the RG552 dealt with this no issue. But for some reason, the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus just got completely messed up. Now it started off alright, but bit by bit you start to see all the graphical issues starting to pile up and it literally becomes unplayable. I really don't know what's going on with this, but I guess it's a pretty good test. Moving on and hoping for some better emulation, we've got Castlevania Legacy of Darkness. And now this one runs a lot better than Yoshi's Story. We don't have any of the issues that we had with Yoshi's Story. Everything's nice and smooth from, again, the menu system, cutscenes and gameplay. But there is one issue though, I did struggle with the standard button mapping. It just didn't seem intuitive to me. I felt it quite difficult to play the game. Although this is something that can be easily remedied if you do go into the settings and change the button mapping. But it would have been nice if it was good from the start. Moving on, and we've got Banjo Kazooie. And again, gameplay wise, graphically, this runs really well. The Retroid Pocket 2 Plus, apart from Yoshi's Story, seems to handle N64 games brilliantly. But again, we had the button mapping issue with this one. And for a lot of us out there who are happy to just jump into the menu and change that, that's not a problem. But for some people that might want to just get this as a pick up and play device, that is a bit awkward. And like I say, I don't feel like it would be that difficult to make sure that your button mapping was user friendly. Now the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus has its ups and it has its downs, but it is an absolutely beast of a console. And if you want to check out the full review, then that will be dropping in a few days.